Hey guys, so today I'm working on canvas. As you can see, it's a small canvas, 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters. It's nice little square. It's been kicking around the studio for ages. This, I don't even know where it come from. I've completely forgotten. It's got a nice little stain there. Don't worry about that because it won't be this color when I finish with it. So I've got a vague idea of what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to base this. I'm going to do a character on it that I've already sort of done. I'm going to base it on a pencil sketch I've done recently. Again, I've got a vague idea of colour, but not, don't know if it's going to work or not. Got to be a bit careful with the colour really, because in my head I've got monochromatics again. I'm sort of thinking monochromatically, as I often do, but if you do too much monochromatic, you know, it's not very eye-catching monochromatic stuff. It's hard to explain why. It's just not as eye-catching, and often you have to work quite specifically if you work in monochromatics. That's what I'm going to try and do now, but I might change my mind halfway through. What I'm going to do, I don't always do this, but I'm going to do a pencil sketch on it. Now, the reason I don't always do this, and you need to know this really, is if you work in pencil on canvas, that pencil obviously is not going to it's not going to interact with canvas like it is with paper. The paper, at least, you know, the graphite will get sort of caught in the fibers of the paper a little bit. It will still smudge, but some of it will get caught up, whereas none of the graphite will sink into this at all. This is a primed canvas, so it will just sit on the top of it basically. And that's not a problem if you're painting on it. You're going to add paint, but graphite shows through paint in the early layers, so I'll definitely have to layer it. It means more work basically, but I want to see if I can get a nice pencil sketch. I don't always, like I said, I don't always do it. Sometimes just lazy and just go straight in with a pen, or I just freestyle. But this is something I want to do that's based on something already, so I need to copy it from work I've already done. So I'm going to work with a pencil because I want to get it the way I want to get it, which isn't always the way. I'm a big freestyler, but yeah. See, already I'm setting myself up for failure if I kind of go, well, I want to get it the way I want to get it. That's not how I work normally. So I've got to be a bit cautious on this one, I think. Do you know what? Let's just get stuck into it. I can't even speak. What's going on? Sunday morning, that's what it is. Let's get stuck into it and let's see what occurs. Let's do a pencil sketch and then I'll come back to you. Okay, so I'll be honest with you, I'm not really feeling this. This sometimes happens for me, you know. By the way, what a mistake to work with graphite. I thought it'd be okay to work with graphite. I've worked with graphite on canvases before. The problem is, if you don't know quite what you're doing, then you're going to change your mind. And then you start smearing it all over the place. And you can see I've made quite a smear there. And the only problem with that is, obviously, it's not a problem. You go over with paint and everything, but the paint is going to pick up the graphite, and then it's going to need extra coats and all that sort of stuff. But you know, I'm sort of in for that anyway. That's fine. But it's just, you know, it's just an added pain really. So I'm using this as a bit of an exercise. This is a great exercise, both for me and for you really, which is I'm not really feeling this, which means I'm gonna have to work doubly hard. Now I could just abandon it, and you know, believe me when I tell you I've abandoned stuff in the past, but it's not always great to do that because it can be quite demoralizing to abandon a piece of art. And sometimes the discipline, particularly if you want to be a professional, if you want to do it for work, or if you want to sell your work, or if you want to be taken seriously as an artist, or take yourself seriously as an artist, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it's good to push on through. See, even that, I'm looking at that again. The construction of that hand is not right. Okay, that's not good. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, okay. So, I'm having a bit of a struggle with this, as you can see. Anyway, I'm going to push on with it because I think it'd be good for me to do it. Be good for me to push on with this and just get on with it, you know. As my mentor used to say, shut up, stop moaning, and get on with doing your art. Now that sounds quite brutal in many ways, but he was right, and I did stop whinging, I did stop moaning, I did get on with it, and sure enough, you know, I got the results I was after. So what I need to do now is I need to really work hard on laying down some colour and outline to make this the best it can be. There's nothing wrong with it, by the way. There's nothing particularly wrong with it. It's fine. It's just my standard stock in trade, as you can see. It's just, it's not particularly exciting to me. But maybe nothing, this is the other thing, you know, what is going to be exciting to me? Maybe nothing will be exciting to me. Maybe I just got to get on with it and just go, well, look, you know, it's a process like any other. Sometimes my mate used to say it. My mate used to say, listen, you know, my old man's a welder. He's not excited every time he goes to work. Sometimes I'm not excited when I go to work. You know, sometimes I just got to graft it. And there's a lot of wisdom in that. So with that in mind, let's get some colour on it. Okay, so we've got a big old mess there, which is good. I want you to remember at this stage. So often when people are sort of first learning to paint canvas and stuff like that, they don't realise that they've got, particularly graphic artists, and graffiti is a very graphic form generally. There are exceptions to that, but I'm not going to go into that right now. It's a very graphic form, and graphic means clean lines. That's generally what you get in graphic art, very, very clean lines and very tight technique and all that. So this can be quite a sort of disconcerting process if you're used to that, because you're going to, by necessity, you're going to have to get messy because there's paint involved. You've got to lay down paint. And if you've worked on a wall a lot, then you know this already, but generally you're going to have to make a mess in order to make it nice. It has to be messy first. So this looks all very messy, but this, let me tell you, is exactly where it needs to be right now. This is me laying down the first layer of paint. So you can see what I mean by the graphite. See that the graphite's still in there. Now I don't mind that, because that's gonna, it might even help me out along the way. It might do, it probably won't actually, because by the time another 2 coats are gone on that, you won't be able to see that anymore. But some of it might come through and I might be able to use it to my advantage. Anyway, that's less important than the fact that I've got to go over it again. I've got to start laying down more paint, and it's not until then that I start to work on how I want the whole thing lit and all that kind of stuff. So let's push on. Just got to lay down more paint. I was just waiting for this to dry really. This is all dry now, so let's crack on. Okay, so a bit of a progress update. Obviously I'm cracking on with it now. interesting bit of a dilemma here, actually. So this thing I talked about, the graphite mixes with the paint and all that, it's more or less killed it in the in this. Few coats and it's pretty much, that makes it a tiny bit murky, but I quite like all that anyway because it looks a bit grubby. I like a bit of grubby. But talking of grubby, this looks really dirty, really kind of mucky and horrible, but I quite like that. And it's making me think about the whole theme of the thing. Maybe I'll make it a bit grubbier, a bit murkier, a bit kind of yuckier. Maybe that's a good idea. I'm not sure I can do that really, because the elements that I've planned don't really have, there's not much to be able to indicate that. But yeah, it's sort of an example of how you, if you stay open to the work, stay spontaneous, stuff happens. You know, stuff will happen in the work, and don't feel you got to have everything planned out the whole time. Yeah, so I'm just trying to decide what to do with all this now, really. I'm just pushing on anyway. You know, you often get time to think when you're doing canvas because drying time and stuff like that. I know people talk about hair dryers and that kind of stuff, but for me, the time, I know I moan about it, and I do moan about it as well. But you know, moaning aside, drying time gives me time to think about where it's going and to try to stay open to the direction. And yeah, anyway, so far so good. I'm going to see what I can do with it. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to start applying pencil, because wax pencil can really give you some interesting depth and shading on this kind of stuff. Let's have a look. So I'm really enjoying this actually, surprisingly enough. I'm really quite enjoying it for something that I wasn't really feeling. By the way, I'm still not particularly feeling it. That hasn't changed, but I'm just quite enjoying the process now. I've decided, I was being indecisive around this and thinking, should I just clean this up? Then I thought, no, I'm not going to clean it up. I'm not. I'm going to make it all grubby and dirty. Quite like it. Yeah. I don't know, there's not much to say really. It's from here on in, really, it's about how I can light it, how I can sort of, you know, I've lit it on the character. Now it's about how I can light the background using this sort of monochromatic thing that I've chosen to do. So I guess we'll see if I can pull it off in any kind of way. Yeah, I'm not crazy about his hand, but you know, that's there's not much I can do about that. Yeah, that's it really. That's it. Actually, I'm not going to say what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do it. better give you a quick update as to what I'm up to here, because I've done quite a lot on this now, and I've done different techniques on it as well, some of which you might like and some of which you might hate depending on your taste. So what I've done is I got the old the Cineo blow pen out to do this sort of effect, this sort of overspray effect down here. Did that. I blended it with some Molotov as well. The Molotov is actually matte and the Cineo comes up a bit glossy, which I forgot, so which is not ideal, but you know me, I'm not crazy about details. This stuff down here, this is literally like finger blending, which is one of my favorite things to do. Not everybody likes it because it gives a very painterly, what we call a painterly effect, which it doesn't disguise the fact that there are brush strokes in there or finger dabs or whatever. It doesn't disguise that. Again, in graphic art, normally your surfaces are very matte and they're very clean. Any sort of overspray is very neat. Increasingly in recent times, one of the reasons I'm not crazy about digital art, it's too clean. You know, I don't want it clean anymore. I used to really want everything to be super clean all the time. Like, look at these lines down here. They're kind of messy and muddy, and I really like that. It gives you a lot for nothing if you can bear it. And I say if you can bear it because I'm one of them artists who struggles, you know, to bear it, because I've been a graphic artist for so long. I struggle to kind of go, leave it alone, you know, just leave it alone. Because if I could just thicken it out and put a uniform black line down there, but it kills it. It kills the character of it. So the best thing you can do is just leave it alone. You know, this bits of overdab here to indicate light and stuff like that. I've used wet on wet technique as well, which is when you lay down you can do either actually. You can lay down a dark color or a light color. Best to do a dark color. Then you take a light color and you blend it through, and you get a sort of, I mean, you know, and you could do it. You can do it to be very sort of neat and perfecty and everything. But obviously, I'm not doing that. That's not what I want to achieve. So I just want to get these sort of interesting color blends with lots and lots of different sort of strokes and stuff in them. So that's quite nice. Bit stuck as to what to do here because I put this yellow in, and obviously it's kind of stood out. I need to do more. Basically, I need to do more with this. I don't want to just do it all in this sort of pink, these pinks and purples and everything. I want a different color in there as well, but at the moment there's not enough. It could just be that I need to do, you know, a little bit of extra or whatever, but yeah, I'm not sure at the moment, but it needs something else. Otherwise it's getting a bit lonely down here. Yeah, I guess I'll do that now. It's like this as well. I've added this little bit here. I looked at it and thought, it looks a bit like a tidal wave coming over the top, doesn't it? I quite like all that. Up to the viewer to decide, right, what that is. It could just be lots and lots of light. It could be flying water, you know. Up to you. Yeah, I've got to do something down here. I need to crack on with this. Right, it's slightly crept up on me actually. I finished this one, and well, except for what I do, see that's white on the edge. What I do is I black that. I'll go over that with one of these, a big fat marker, and do the edges of it. Oh, I need to shape. There we go. Yeah, I just sort of I'd fill the edges like that. But I'm not going to bore you rigid by doing it now. that is what I'll do. Yeah, I'm reasonably pleased with how this turned out, actually, because I was, as you know, I was ready to give up pretty much after I started the sketch. I think it's sort of, it's like the bane of the artist, really. Sometimes everything you do looks awful to you, or you just think, oh, it's just the same as something else, and it's details. There we go. It's the same as something else I've done over and over again. I don't want to do it again, or you know, all that. There's always like a million negative voices going on in your head that will tell you why it's a good reason to give up, and the trick is to ignore them. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. I mean, I'm saying that. Normally I do find it quite easy, but just recently I've been finding it very, very difficult. And, you know, I'm doing stuff and just going, oh, I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not feeling this. But sometimes just keep going. Just keep going. Even just for the process of the practice, or, you know, just, you'll get something out of it, no matter what. And, you know, this isn't ideally what I want to be doing at the moment. But I couldn't really tell you what I do want to be doing. I tell you what, I quite like this. I know this is an odd thing, but I'm quite liking this because it's so dirty. And recently I've been sort of struggling with looking at some of the surfaces and stuff I've done, just thinking it's too clean. It's too clean. It's too nice. Sometimes what artists will do to get different textures and stuff is they'll do a surface in a very kind of opaque paint, and then they'll put a wash over the top to make it uneven, like a very, very thin wash, and it gives you this. And modelers do it as well. Like if you do Warhammer 40k or anything like that, I don't do the modelling or anything, but I watch the artists do it, and I recommend you should as well, because it's really interesting from an art perspective of the kind of finishes that they can get, because they lay their matte colours down, but the matte colours just look too clean, so they lay these really, really thin grubby washes over the top, and it comes up like this, all a bit dirty and grubby, which is quite nice, actually. You know, if you've moved beyond, I know some of you won't have moved beyond that point of just getting things really clean and nice and tight, because you need to be able to do that first, I think. But I'm a bit sick of it after 30 odd years. I'm a bit sick of everything looking all tight and lovely and crisp and nice. I want things to look a bit filthier. You know, sometimes if I'm working to a commission or something, then, I mean, having said that, the commissions I've done recently are also a bit dirty, tiny bit dirty, just because I like that look so much. But, you know, no clients have complained about it. Clients seem to be perfectly happy with it. So while clients are happy with it, I'll keep on doing it. Anyway, there you go. That's all done. I'll be back for more soon. In the meantime, yeah, you know, drop us a comment, see what you think. Do you like it clean or dirty? I'm guessing you probably like it clean. But, you know, maybe I'm weird. Anyway, soon, later.